Thank you so much for your attention. If everybody could just maybe slowly make their way to their seats. We're going to have Auntie Joanne Nakashima do a blessing for the wonderful food that Greenery Cafe has brought to us here.
Aloha. May we pray. We are grateful to the Creator of us all. This day, it is good for us to be together. Mahalo for those who choose to serve others, giving of time, resources, and ideas enables each a chance to participate in our community's development. May the time that we share here together bring joy to this evening. We are very grateful for the family and the friends who gather to support for a better life on Kauai. God, please bless this event, bless the food to nourish us, and the spirit to nurture our efforts for the good of all. Amen.
Just have everyone's attention. Please feel free to continue speaking, conversing, eating. I just want to first mahalo Kaua here for some wonderful music. If we could just give him a round of applause. Thank you. Before I introduce our speakers for this evening, I just wanted to point out that we do have 2 booths here in the corner. Our first booth is with Janice Bond. She's helping register to vote folks here in the county so that whoever you want to vote for, you're able to do so during the presidential preference poll coming up on March 26th, as well as the primary and the general. You can absolutely see her with more information. She has your precinct and where you need to go to do that. We also have Sharon and Howard who have a petition here with iclimatecredits.org. It's to help reduce global warming and the use of fossil fuels here in the county and throughout the state. They have some fabulous information there if you folks had a minute to go check them out. I just wanted to introduce my friend and my husband, Dylan Hooser, and he'll be able to introduce our next speaker. Mahalo.
Aloha, and good evening, everyone. I wanted to take a minute to welcome and thank everyone for taking the time to come out and support my father, Gary Hooser, for Kauai County Council. As I look around the room, it warms my heart to see so many new and familiar faces. It is amazing to see so many different people coming together to support my father. Thank you very much. This past election was an extremely challenging one, especially for progressive grassroots candidates who take on hard issues, take on hard stances on the issues that matter the most to us. Issues ranging from industrial ag, poisoning our local communities, to the ever-widening gap between the super rich and the working poor. I'm proud to say my father has been an unwavering figure in standing up to these challenges facing our community. His leadership and uncanny ability to create legislation to help and protect the local people of Kauai and the residents of our state speaks for itself. Sadly, it appears that both on a local and national level, that it is getting harder and harder for grassroots politicians to get elected. It is truly up to us, you and me, everyday working people, to acknowledge, support, and uplift politicians who choose people over profits. To help politicians that choose to protect our diminishing natural resources rather than exploit them. It is our kuleana as a community to malama these people. Without our support and our vote, we will continue to lose these grassroots candidates that continue to make our community a better place. It is truly an honor as my father's son to welcome a person who I consider to be one of the biggest influences and role models in my life up to the stage today. I'm proud and honored to present to you my father, your council member, Gary Hooser.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all very, very much. That's my leg. I really, really want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. You know, I forgot what night it is. It's a Tuesday night, and you all have other things to do. And I appreciate you taking the time out and offering it to me in support of launching this campaign. And I'm very proud of my son, Dylan, for his work and his life and what he brings to our community as well. And Dylan actually symbolizes to me what, there's many other people out here in the audience tonight that are somewhere between 25 and 35 who are just engaging in politics for the first time. And even though he grew up in this environment, he also relatively recently got engaged in and became aware of his personal power and his personal commitment and personal obligation and responsibility to help make our community a better place. And that's what drives me, is that realization or that acknowledgement that we all have a responsibility. You know, I'm here tonight asking for your help and support. My wife always tells me, don't forget to ask for help. Sometimes I'll get up here and I'll give a speech and I'll talk and I won't ask anyone for help. So I'm going to do that up front. I do need your help and support. Just by being here tonight, I really, it's from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for that. Please take a bumper sticker, put on your car. I will consider, you know, all of you as potential volunteers, so I'll be sending out emails asking for your help in the future. And so I really, really do need your help. You know, your financial help, many if not all of you have already offered that, but just your help telling your neighbors. This last election, those of you that follow these things know that I won by 82 votes. 82 votes. And I've lost elections before when I ran statewide, but I've never lost, I lost my first council race. But 82 votes in the first printout, you know, I thought I'd lost. And then the second printout, I'd still lost. And my daughter, who lives in Honolulu, texted my wife Claudette and said, "Tell Dad there's one more printout coming." And I said, "No, it's over. You know, it was number 12, you have to get to number 7. Nobody ever goes that far at the end." And then lo and behold, she says, "No, it's the North Shore." and God bless the North Shore, because that's what pushed me over the top. But really, you know, God bless this place where we live and call home, from the North Shore to the east side to the south and west side. We are also fortunate to live here and to be able to work here and to raise our families and to have friends here. And so I'm committed to not win by 82 votes. I'm committed to being a stronger candidate. And I tell people up front, it was my own damn fault, you know. I didn't work as hard as I should have worked. I figured, you know, to a great extent, people already knew who I was, but on Kauai, you have to earn your votes. So that's why I'm here tonight. That's why I've been going around to coffee hours all across our community, talking to people in where they live, in their towns, to earn their vote, to listen to them, to listen to what issues are important to them, and then to share with them my mana'o, my values, my vision for the future also. The big issue on the table that we've been working on for a long time, that many of you are familiar with, is this industrial agriculture issue. And I want to just talk about that real briefly up front. That if you don't know it, we have made tremendous wins in that issue. Kauai is a safer place. It's a much safer place today than it was 2 or 3 years ago. That's a fact. Thank you. There is at least a third less land being used by these companies spraying pesticides than there was 2 years ago. There's one less company, BASF, is now gone. When you drive down the road, you no longer see the fields as close to the road as they were before. In Lihue especially, you see cattle grazing now. You don't see it. So our work on this issue, while it may not seem like we've been successful, we've been very successful. We are in a much safer environment. It's not safe enough. We have much more work to do, and I'm committed to continue to do that. But we are in a much better environment. There's more disclosure, there are more buffer zones, and there's less pesticides being used than there was 2 or 3 years ago. We also, as a result of our work, the Big Island stepped forward, Maui stepped forward, and so because of us in our little island, we've started this broader conversation around our state. And someone, Ned, actually asked me a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, that he wanted to hear, you know, what my vision was for the future. You know, that what's the vision thing, if you would. And my vision, and it made me think, and I thank you, Ned, for asking that question, because it made me think about what exactly is my vision, and I thought about that all day today. And my vision is that Kauai, that all of us are leaders. Kauai is a leader for the state. We're each leaders in our community, and we set standards for everybody else. We lead in the area of fighting for the health and preservation of our environment. We lead in terms of government. We lead in terms of providing affordable housing and a decent wage for our people. We lead on climate change, and we're not followers. It's frustrating sometimes when some of my colleagues and some others will say, well, we don't want to be out front. We don't want to take any risks. We don't want to, let's look and see what somebody else is doing. What I want to do is look and see what other people are doing and then do it better. And that's what we should do. We should be like we want to be for our children. We want to set an example for them. We should set an example for the state of Hawaii, and I think we're doing that in many respects. This recent bill that I introduced, it's passed its first vote on registering lobbyists in the state of Hawaii, in Kauai County, is one that I'm very proud of, and it's been weakened significantly, but it's still a good bill. You know, when I put that together, I put in that bill a ban on gifts. People that get paid to lobby should not be able to give people like me presents. You know, that's at the end of the day. And I don't care if it's a $25 lunch or, you know, anything. They should not be able to give me gifts or presents because they get paid to do it. Unfortunately, that provision did not pass. The majority of the council chose not to include that provision. And there are details like what's a gift, and, you know, but the details can be worked out. The other provision in that was that paid lobbyists should not sit on the Planning Commission, for example, or the Charter Review Commission. You know, it's just you know, go figure, you know. And these were two provisions that were both removed from the bill, and there may be an opportunity to put them back. It still has many strong provisions. It's not saying you can't lobby, it just says it's about disclosure. How much money are you spending, where you're spending it, and what are you lobbying on? So that measure is being heard a week from Wednesday, and if you want to submit testimony on that, please do so. You know, I've managed to passed a law to cap property tax assessments for owner-occupied houses that Councilmember Chalk introduced with me. And so that is now waiting for the mayor's signature. And that'll stop the wide fluctuations of property tax for owner-occupants. Councilmember Chalk and I are also working on a bill that affordable housing measure, which should be on the agenda in the very near future, which I'm confident will provide several hundred new housing units, primarily in the Lihue area. But you'll hear more about that later. You know, the only thing holding us back from doing things, from being a leader, from the council leading, from our county leading, is political will and shared values. Political will and shared values. Our council, if we had the votes there, if we had 4 or 5 people who shared the worldview that you and I share, shared the worldview that all of us deserve to have access to affordable, decent housing. All of us deserve that. And there's ways to do it. The county has the power to land use power. We can zone. We have the power to do this stuff. If 4 or 5 council members had the political will and shared the worldview to do that, we could solve this issue. If 4 of us or 5 of us had the political will and shared the values of cracking down on big money in politics, we could do that also. If 4 or 5 of us said that we want to make Kauai the feed itself first and foremost, feed itself, we can do that. We can do that. We have the power to do that. You know, people will say, well, you can't do that, you can't do that. Well, sure we can. You know, you can grow vegetables, you can grow starches, and you can grow beef, and there's fish. There's no reason in a small community like this, with the land that we have available to ourselves, that we can't do that. The only thing standing between us and that is political will and a shared worldview. That's the only thing. And the list goes on. But that is the vision. We should be able to feed ourselves at the minimum. Food and energy. We should be food and energy self-sufficient. There's no reason we can't do that. But to cross that bridge, we need you to show up on November, whatever that day is, in the primary and again in November to vote. The reality of voting and elections are, you know, in a regular room like this, half of you wouldn't be registered to vote. I bet you there's, you know, 30 or 40 people here who aren't registered, and there's probably another 50 that didn't vote in the last primary kind of thing. That's just the way it works. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, Gary, I knew you were in there, so I didn't worry about voting. You know, that kind of thing. And so it's just really, really important that you show up. I mean, 82 votes, and I would be, as my wife said, looking for a job, I think. No, but I love what I do. I get up every day in the morning, and I give thanks for the ability to serve. I love serving you. I love fighting the good fight and working toward a more sustainable, more positive humanity and community and environment. There's so many issues that need so much work. And to do that, I need you and I need your friends. And so thank you very much for coming tonight. I'll be around to answer questions or to talk story. But please, just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Aloha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He told me I had to smile more, so I was more serious. So I'd be happy to take questions. Does anybody have questions? Does anybody have questions? Yes. Louder? Yes. Okay, so the question is about the trip to Switzerland. And, you know, we mentioned BASF leaving, and, you know, I won't hide the fact that I'm happy to see them leave. You know, the jobs are important, and I'm not happy to see anyone not being able to pay their mortgage, pay their bills, or send their kids to school. That's for sure. But I'm happy to see this industry leaving. And there's 3 players remaining. Dow AgroSciences. Dow AgroSciences makes chlorpyrifos. Chlorpyrifos is the chemical that sent 10 to 12 Syngenta workers to the hospital a few weeks ago. Chlorpyrifos, the EPA has announced they're going to ban it because it's so dangerous, but it'll take them a year or so to ban it. That same chemical they found in the air at Waimea Canyon School, middle school. They found it also in Kaua Ditch in the water. And I just think it's totally unacceptable. They'll say it's a small amount. I don't care, it's not supposed to be there. I would not want anyone's children going to a school when chlorpyrifos or these other chemicals are in the air and the water. So that's Dow AgroSciences. And when they say they're a good neighbor, I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it with me. The other 2 companies, Syngenta. Syngenta is a Swiss company. And Syngenta is based in Switzerland. China recently announced they're buying Syngenta. And they're the largest pesticide company in the world. And they are based in a town called Basel, Switzerland. I got an email from an organization in Basel, I guess it's proper pronunciation, and they asked me if I wanted to come and speak to a conference they were having. And to make a long story short, I said yes, be happy to if we can raise some money to go. And they said, by the way, Syngenta's annual shareholder meeting is happening a block or 2 away. Would you like to speak to the shareholders? And I was flabbergasted, and so this is all by email. I emailed them back and I said, so you can do that? How do you do that? And they said, we own 1 share and we'll transfer it into your name. And so that's what they did, and it was a phenomenal experience. You can go on I should have mentioned GaryHooser.com. You can go to the website, GaryHooser.com. There's a video, a 4-minute video there of me speaking. And I talked to the people, the shareholders as well as the population in Basel, about the fact that in Basel or in Switzerland, atrazine is against the law. It's banned. You cannot use atrazine in Switzerland, yet they're using it here by the truckload. You cannot use paraquat in Switzerland, but they use it here. And so my message to them was, don't do in my yard what you're forbidden by law to do in your own backyard. And the reception was very good. I have to compliment Fern Rosensteel. Fern, stand up. Fern went to Switzerland with me. Fern is the real hero here, because if not for Fern, you would just have my word about what happened. Fern went into the hall with me. She had a camera with her. There were no signs that said no pictures, but they were keeping the media out. Security was sitting right behind us. They knew who we were. Fern had the presence of mind to videotape my speech, and then the security came up and told her to put the camera away. And if you watch the video, it's really kind of cute because Fern acts like she doesn't understand what he's saying. And then finally he goes to take her camera, and she says no. And so she gets up to leave with him, but continues filming the whole way. It's really good. It's about 4 minutes, and it's one of the highlights of my life in public office. It really is. The experience and the message that I was able to deliver. Thank you. Thank you. The third company, so I don't want to leave anybody out here because I'm equal opportunity here. The third company, actually the fourth company, BASF, Dow AgroScience, and Syngenta, and then there's DuPont Pioneer. And shame on DuPont Pioneer for fighting and not cooperating, not helping the people in the community of Waimea Valley for about 15 years now. They've got them in court, and Pioneer still resists. They still just talk, and don't do anything. They talk about it doesn't drift. This is a funny story too. I don't want to tell too many stories here. So I went to a meeting a couple weeks ago, and a person in the community, they're concerned about drift. And the Pioneer DuPont fella said, well, don't worry, it doesn't drift. And then she said, well, would you set up drift monitors along the edge of town? You guys have a lot of money, why don't you do that and we'll all feel good. And he asked her, well, what is your tolerance of drift? What's acceptable? I don't make this stuff up. But we are making great inroads, and I'm not exaggerating one little bit when I say the community is safer today than it was 3 or 4 years ago. I know that for a fact. I live and breathe and talk about this stuff every day. We are in court. Little inside information, if you would. The appeal by the Ninth Circuit will be heard in Honolulu in June. So the Ninth Circuit will be hearing our appeal, and I'm hopeful and optimistic, actually, that we'll prevail in court. At that time, though, what will happen is the industry will then go to the legislature and try to change the law to take it away from us. They're trying to do that now. So I encourage you to call Senator Kochi, Representative Tokioka, Morikawa, and Kawakami, and tell them not to mess around with home rule. Okay, they're trying to pass a law to say the county doesn't have any right to regulate agriculture. Okay, take away the county's right to regulate agriculture. And when I talked about making Kauai self-sufficient, that would involve the county doing things. And so they want to take that right away from us. And that they're going to continue working on that. And so please call them and just tell them flat out, you know, you support home rule, and do not mess around with it. Other questions? Yes? Oh, I forgot one other thing before the question. Thank you, sorry. The industrial agriculture is about a lot more than just the chemical companies, those 4 companies. You know, we need to look at agriculture as a whole in our community and support agriculture that feeds people and takes care of the environment. And that's what we need, feeds people and takes care of the environment. And so we will continue to get industrial agricultural operations that come into our community, that want to make money, and that aren't feeding anybody here, and aren't good for the environment. And I'm speaking of the dairy in Mount Mahalapu, for one. Okay, so we need dairies, we need food, we need, you know, if you eat meat, we need cattle, we need that stuff. But we need it to feed us first. You know, nothing in that dairy is going to, no milk stays home. It all goes away. It's put in one of the most sensitive areas that we have here on our island, above, you know, drinking water wells. It's just a bad idea. I don't know why that company did not come into the community first. Come to the community first and present their ideas. There's lots of land, there's lots of other options which are not as sensitive for that land. And again, milk for the community, not milk for China or other places. Wait, other question? No, sorry.
Gary, thank you for being here. What can we do to support making industrial hemp legal to grow on this island?
Okay, good. The question is, what can we do to make industrial hemp legal? That would be primarily be your state representatives that I mentioned earlier. Call them, tell them it's important to you. There's no shortage of land in our island. The Kekaha, the west side, has about 10,000 acres of state lands that mostly are leased right now to those 4 companies that I mentioned before. But yes, talk to those people. Another question? Thane, did you have a question? So the question is about infrastructure, and I'll address the traffic. Most of you probably know there's a proposal that the mayor put forth to raise the general excise tax by 0.5% to go toward road improvements. And on the surface, a lot of people think that's going to go toward traffic alleviation, but it won't. And I'm not supporting that tax. The traffic from Kauaihau Road in Kapa'a all the way through the Tunnel of Trees, almost 98% of it is rated the very bottom of the scale for state highway standards. The very bottom. It actually goes below that, but they only have one one at the bottom. And it's a traffic, it's a safety hazard. I mean, if there's a tsunami or some evacuation, it consumes God knows how much time and money from people getting to work and back, not to mention the fuel. Those are state highways. That is a state highway in the entire stretch. I have a resolution that will be heard, not this tomorrow, but I think the following Wednesday, to ask the state of Hawaii to demand, to strongly encourage the state of Hawaii to do repairs in the Kaua segment. There's a plan in place. It's been in place for a number of years. It was in place when I was in the Senate. We had money available for it to put 4 lanes from the bridge over Wailoa River all the way to the existing temporary bypass. It's less than a mile, I believe. So that, in my opinion, that's where I live, that would really open up that stretch in the Kaua area. As people come south toward Lihui, they can turn right into the house lots, right into the homesteads. It's a Band-Aid, but it's something. But it's a state thing, and the amount of money that the state gets from the federal government for highways is something like $250 million a year for matching funds, which on a statewide scale on big projects like this is not a lot. We need to get our state reps to stand up. One would think we have some power there, but I'm not seeing it pay off in terms of projects like this. We need to put pressure on them. And the county can do the feeder roads going into it, but it's really a state highway. I always hate to say it's not our problem, it's somebody else's problem, but it is a state highway. So I'm planning as a council member to get the council to put pressure on them and the governor and the Department of Transportation to do something and realize that it's urgent right now. In terms of the sewer and the other, I don't have an answer for you that right now. Other questions? See, I'll dodge the question. Yes?
What's your stance on the county manager?
What's my stance on the county manager? I'm surprised that question didn't come up earlier. So I think the county manager is a new way. It would be new for Kauai, but it's used on a lot of counties and cities across the mainland, where you don't have, you hire a professional manager. You hire someone who has a degree and/or experience managing cities. Someone who understands how sewers work and roads work and traffic works and budget works. And that person then goes out and hires department heads. So I'm attracted to it, but there's a lot of moving parts and it's very complicated. So what it means we would need a charter amendment which changes a lot of parts of the charter. And so we're working on that right now. But I'm attracted to it. Right now, the mayor appoints all the directors, and they're political appointments, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, that's just the way it works. But in the old days, I think they still call it patronage. So if you know the guy and you help somebody, then you might get a job. And I'm not saying all the appointees are not qualified, not that at all, but it's a patronage system, so very few people get fired, there's very little accountability, so there's a lot of negatives with a patronage system, and that's only part of it. But there's other questions like who appoints the boards and commissions, who hires the police chief, who hires the fire, so all these questions have to be answered as we work through it. I'm attracted to the idea. I'm not sure that all the answers are going to be ready in time to go on the ballot this time, but we're working on that. Yes. The question about is it possible to have an effective public transportation system? Okay.
The only thing I like about living on Oahu, their buses are great. Here it's a pain.
Public transportation, I support public transportation. It's a chicken or the egg thing. In order to have a really robust public transportation system, you have to have a lot of spokes, a lot of things feeding into it. And that requires a large investment. So I think we're walking down that path and is growing as fast as the county can reasonably expect to grow. I'd give a shout out to Councilmember Yukimura. She is tireless on this and is a real champion for that. But yes, so in order for people to use it, you have to have a more comprehensive system, and comprehensive systems cost money. No public transportation system pays for itself directly. Neither do roads don't pay for themselves directly. Most public services are public services and they don't pay for themselves. That's why they're public services, so in defense of public transportation. So I don't want to just keep everybody captive in case somebody has to get up and run in the middle of the microphone. Yes, Hunter, you have a question?
How did you become a politician?
How did I become a politician? It's actually kind of a funny story. A lot of times when I speak to classes, they'll tell me, did I always want to be a council member? Did I always want to be, a senator or whatever? And my answer normally is no. When I was very little, I wanted to be president. When I was about your size, I wanted to be president. Then I wanted to be rich. And then as I evolved, I got into politics. I enjoy writing. Some of you if you go to GaryHooser.com, you can see my blog. Or if you're not on it, if you want to be on the email list, please sign up. But I enjoy writing, and this is a true story. I don't know if it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I wrote a column. I like to write opinion columns, 800 words. And the name of the column was, I don't want to be Donald Trump anymore. No, true story. This was 15 or 20 years ago. That's a true story. I mean, I was in the real estate business. I thought money was real important, and I wanted to have a bigger house and a bigger car and all this stuff. And then I realized I don't want that anymore. And I used Donald Trump actually in the column to say that I don't want it, because I believe each of us can accomplish anything. And I'm not exaggerating a little bit. Hunter, this is for you. Any of us can accomplish anything we put our hearts and minds to. If you work hard and you really believe in it, you can do what you want and achieve great things. But I came to the conclusion I don't want to do what Donald Trump does. I don't want to work in Chicago or New York or do the big deals. And but anyway, last question, or yes, bring the shareholders some local GE test field cattle beef. So I actually met with a gentleman looking at doing organic dairies in the state of Hawaii. Relatively small dairies. They wanted to build a creamery and sell the products locally. And I was talking about some of the lands, and he said it would be 3 years before they could sell the milk from those fields, if you want to be certified organic, that type of thing. So I want to thank everybody for really coming out. Stay and enjoy yourself, talk story, and I'll be around too. Aloha. Thank you.
Something to